Anthem, ladies and gentlemen, now has an official release date of February 22nd, 2019. That's actually a little bit earlier than I was expecting. I was thinking late March, so we've got kind of a month on what I was thinking. Obviously, I'm fine with that. That doesn't mean that the game can't be delayed again, so keep that in mind. The release date is always subject to change. It's not like they're going to lock that in. But nonetheless, what we saw at EA Play, specifically the actual gameplay demo, was really exciting. Really awesome, actually. And I had a lot of, oh shit, that's really cool moments. I've got 3 pages of notes. There's a bunch of information on the web already outside of EA Play. There's a bunch of creators that got flown to the event who got to play it, like Rick Kakis. They're going to be talking about it. Everyone's going to be talking about it. Look all over the web. There's going to be a lot of information, a lot of different sources, a lot of different people giving you their perspective on Anthem. I have a lot that I'm going to want to say. I've got, again, 3 pages of notes to go through. We're going to talk in detail about gameplay, about the javelins, about leveling, about progression. There's so much to touch on. What I wanted to do today was hit on some of the really big, important factors that I think a lot of people have been concerned about, talking about. Basically, the things that we just have wanted to know since we originally saw Anthem back at E3 2017. So why don't we start with monetization, because I know this is easily the biggest concern that everyone has. And I made a point in saying that I was pretty sure Anthem was going to do Battlefield 5's monetization because it's just smarter and it's more profitable, and that is exactly what they're doing. So there will be no loot boxes, no gameplay advantages that you can purchase with real world money. There will be premium purchases in the form of cosmetics. We do know that customization in the game is going to allow us to alter our javelin's appearance through the use of paint jobs as well as geometric alteration. So actually changing the shape of the javelin armor, making it look a little bit different. So having a ranger suit that has different shoulder pads or different shapes to it. That's all tied into the cosmetic system. You will be able to buy some of those cosmetics outside of the in-game experience with premium currency. That's how they're going to fund the game. And you're going to buy exactly what you want. What you see is what you get when you actually buy it. They're funding the game just like they're funding Battlefield 5. I've said numerous times that this is more profitable. Games like Fortnite are really demonstrating that. You don't have to nickel and dime people with shitty loot boxes. People will actually spend more money if you gain their trust and if you give them options, and EA has realized that. So it's not necessarily about them being nice to us, it's about them realizing what's going to make them more money. The benefit is we get a system that is far more consumer friendly. Glad to have that cleared up. A lot of people were like, we're not going to hear about monetization until after release. They have set the bar for it. It is right there. Everyone is following in the footsteps of Respawn and Titanfall 2. Thank friggin' goodness. Let's move on and talk story, because I think this is also something that a lot of people are asking about. What the hell is Anthem? What's going on? What do I do? How does it play? How does the multiplayer work? How does the single player work? So Anthem is essentially split into 2 components. You have the single player experience, which exists behind the walls of Fort Tarsus. This is sort of one of the last footholds of humanity. You function there as a freelancer, a pilot of the many javelins within the game world, who goes on out into the open world of Anthem to deal with a lot of different threats that are potentially looking to destroy the remnants of humanity. Now, when you're in Fort Tarsus, that's where you're going to make a lot of your dialogue choices. That's where you're going to have decisions that have consequences. That's where you're going to have your full-blown sort of traditional BioWare single-player storytelling experience. When you go into the open world of Anthem, when you leave Fort Tarsus to play with your friends, to play alone, you are now in the shared world of Anthem. Every single thing you see in that shared world is the same for everyone. The day and night cycle is the same for everyone. Events like Shaper Storms are there for everyone. If you've got a friend who lives in Tokyo, Japan, and you live in San Francisco, California, you both are going to see the exact same events occurring. You're both going to experience the exact same open world, even if you're not playing with one another. So if you get on Friday night at 10 p.m. and you take on that Shaper Storm with one group of friends, and your friend was on earlier in the day to take on that Shaper Storm with a different group of friends, you still took on the same event essentially within that same window, and you can talk about it, you can share your experience, and then you can talk about how you're influencing your single player campaign differently from how your friend is influencing theirs. I love the way they're doing this. It's smart, and it doesn't concern itself so much with like, well, we want every character to feel like they're part of the same story because it's co-op. No, you have your story, you influence those things, all of the things that happen with substantial consequences, that's what's going on for you. And then you have the separate stuff that happens in the open world. So they also made this very clear. There are still story elements that exist in the open world of Anthem. Those story elements will be shared by everyone. So all the big consequential decisions, those happen behind the walls of Fort Tarsis. Out in the open world, that's where BioWare can change that world through events like the Shaper Storms, and everyone gets to see that change. Now, you can play the game solo. They've said it's going to be a little bit more challenging, but I think that's exactly what people are looking for when they talk about a solo experience, as long as it's not undoable. And I'm sure there will be some endgame activities that require other players. Most people are okay with a little bit more challenge, though. I think that's what people expect from a solo experience in a co-op game. And they are, again, trying to do things to encourage people to try co-op play. They are taking a bit of a tip from Monster Hunter with these things called contracts. So contracts allow you to throw up essentially a queue or a contract that is broadcasted to other players, letting them know you have space in your party. So say you're playing with one other friend, but you really would like to have two other players, two other freelancers, to take down this Shaper relic. You can put that contract up and broadcast to the greater world, have those people join you and start playing with you at any point during that open world segment. Very much like flares inside of Monster Hunter. Now, the world of Anthem is actually pretty interesting. I like where they're going with this. You essentially exist in a world where the gods have vanished. The gods were constructing something and they vanished. They left behind their tools. They left behind relics of creations that they had not finished and some that they did actually finish. This is the world you have to survive in as a freelancer. These relics are dangerous. They are uncontrollable. You don't understand the technology behind them. They're reshaping the world. They're causing mutations. And we actually get to see one core gameplay loop in the demo, which is actually going and shutting down Shaper tech in the form of Shaper relics. You actually have to close these down to stop them from dealing any destruction to the world outside of them. It's a part of the loop. It's like a mission type, essentially, if you will. And you're going to be dealing with some of the other enemies, other factions in the game, like the Scars, who are very interested in Shaper technology. We'll talk a little bit more about the characters and enemies we're going to see in the game world in a different video, but that is, again, very much a part of why these relics are such a threat. There are people trying to control them, and there are people trying to just shut them down, understanding that maybe you just can't control them and they're far too dangerous. Now, this is one of my favorite things about the story so far, is that there's no mass production. So when we look at the javelins, they're all hand-tooled. All the weapons in the game, they're built from scratch by hand, often using the relics that were left behind by the gods. They look rough around the edges because of this. They look very utilitarian while also still having that sci-fi technological element to them, and I love the aesthetic that this gives off. You know, none of the weapons look super clean or crisp. They're all kind of, you know, rough around the edges. Even a javelin like the Storm, which is the magic user that we see now, which has some more slim, more well-defined lines, or, you know, the Interceptor, which is that racer type javelin, still has a very handmade utilitarian look to it. I like where they're going with that. I like that general concept of the greater world here, that, you know, we're really existing in an environment where we don't understand things. The other factions don't really understand things, and everyone's just trying to survive. The team has made it very clear that there are no real good or bad guys in this world. It's a whole lot of gray areas, everyone just trying to make it through, trying to understand the world a little bit more, and trying to survive at the end of the day. Now, we're going to talk a lot more about gameplay and weapons, but I did want to touch on this. Every single javelin in the game can fly, they can swim, and they can run along the ground. Flying and swimming, mobility, creating layers within the game world is something that the team really seems to be stressing. They want that to be a part of what adds depth to the game world and makes it more dense and more expansive. I frankly am very excited to explore some underwater caverns. With that said, I'm going to leave it there today. I will catch up with you guys very soon. There's going to be just a lot of videos coming out from me in regards to Anthem. There's a lot of things I want to talk about. I'm very excited about it. Hopefully you are. And of course, I'd love to have you share your thoughts on this EA Play reveal down in the comment section below. If you guys watched the gameplay, or if you just saw it for the first time in this video, what do you think of it? Is it have you more excited, less excited? Are you now interested where you weren't before? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you want to point out any details that really get you amped up or get you concerned even, feel free to leave them down there as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
You have been brought here for a purpose, the most important task of your lives.